where the customs and the culture of Mulogooli is expounded. In this video, we are going to talk about Mulogooli names. Please listen keenly to this video, as the information provided here is deeply rooted in the culture and traditions and language in a person's identity. It does not change. Mulembe is the language of Mulogooli. It means peace upon you. It is a salutation of the House of Mulogooli. But Mulembe is more than just greetings. For those who know each other, it is the beginning of an inquiring about one's health and the welfare of the family since they last met. For strangers and persons who do not know each other or are meeting for the first time, Mulembe forms part of greetings and the formal introduction. Mulembe begins with a firm handshake. That is, you shake someone's hand firmly, and ends with a parting handshake and a wish that go in peace. Mugende n'umulembe. People who are known to each other engage in a more vigorous and extended handshake and inquiry about each other's welfare. So you find they will shake the hand very many times, then start inquiring about someone's handshake and then welfare. This video is about surnames and naming in the House of Mulogooli. The focus is on social aspects of introduction. Whether in formal or informal setting, the introduction follows immediately and automatically after Mulembe. That is, you don't say Mulembe and then you say something else. The next thing is introduction. Mulogooli introduction is threefold: your name, your father's name, and the names of your patriot or matriarchal clans, that is, fathers and mothers clans. It goes like this. After the handshake, Mulembe, reply, Mulembe. My name is Mundi Boge. My family clan is Mutembe. And my mother's clan is Mukilima. That is how it goes. So you have said your name, you have said your father's name, you have indicated your family clan and your mother's clan or your uncle's clan. Now let us look at the tradition behind Mulembe greeting. House of Mulogooli holds great respect for traditions and is protective of customs that prevent incestuous bloodline. One method of metering this is through proper naming, which establishes the family history and seamless genetic male-female relationship in a homestead. The House of Mulogooli culture considers incest as the greatest sin after murder. A child born out of incestuous relationship will not grow into a normal adulthood. That is the belief, and that is what actually happens. Abiding to traditions and customs through marriage and naming prevents conditions associated with congenial inborn births associated again with inbreeding. Through this video, we will not indulge deeply into that matter here. Suffice to say, modern science has proven that indeed inbreeding does have both biological and physiological effect on the person born out of such relationship. It is surprising that this scientific knowledge, in bracket, was embedded in the House of Mulogooli culture several centuries before modern science was born. Indeed, the House of Mulogooli have maintained some of the stringest customs about relationship and children right through age, set, traditions, and health education about relationships and marriage. These lessons are enforced by taboos prohibiting marriage between people of the same clan, mother's clan, and between first cousins. Sexual relationships with persons of one clan, or the person you would call father, auntie, mother, sister, brother, first and second cousins, whether related by bloodline or clan. Sharing sleeping areas by persons of opposite sex from puberty. Boy, man, brother, or cousins sharing intimately a girl or a woman, or taking over one who has separated. Girl, woman, sister, cousins sharing intimate a boy or a man, or taking over one who has been separated. Now we go to our main topic here, Mulogooli name identity. This video will help to identify people of House of Mulogooli, their relationships, and how that collates into their name structure. The roles, titles, and the positions held by individuals in the House of Mulogooli homestead and society has over centuries remained constant and identical according to the community's culture. However, the portfolio of names and of individuals is steadily growing and expanding due to the community's method of naming. Here is why and where the new names are coming from. Source of new surnames. The first source of new surnames are ancestral names. Ancestral are historical surnames, that is the House of Mulogooli family names passed over millennia. The other source is ancestral surnames assimilated from the clans. Throughout history, the House of Mulogooli was a peaceful and industrious community. They also fiercely protected their territory against invaders. The source of new surnames. The first source of Mulogooli surnames comes from ancestral names. Those are ancestral historical names. House of Mulogooli family names passed over and over millennia. The second source of Mulogooli names is ancestral names assimilated clans. Throughout history, the House of Mulogooli was a peaceful and industrious community. They also fiercely protected their territory against invaders. Over centuries, some neighboring communities, which were small in number, would seek refuge into the House of Mulogooli, or were eventually assimilated into the larger Mulogooli nation. They can be identified by their clans and names, which through have been adopted as Mulogooli names. The other source of Mulogooli surnames are ancestral names from Africa diaspora. According to African community migratory and settlement history, the following communities are closely related to the House of Mulogooli in terms of migration and settlement around the lake region of East Africa. This is due to their language, their cultural practices, and their names, which have some similarities. These communities are in Kenya: Logoli, Tiriki, Nyore, Kisi, Kuria, and Suba. In Tanzania, we have the Kuria, Ngurimi, Ikizu, Zanaki of the late President Nyerere's community. And in Uganda, we have Masaba, or known as Gisu, and Mulogoli also. In Rwanda, we have Rwandese. The other source of surnames is ancestral names from Bantu. The House of Mulogooli are a populous nation in Kenya, East Africa. They reside near Lake Nyanza and astride the equator. They are the parcel of a larger community known as Mulembe Nation. Furthermore, Mulogooli is classified as a Bantu, the language which covers East and Central African groups. Some names are like Mandela. Among the communities residing in Kenya are a group known as Bantus. Bantus live in large parts of Africa from the equator southwards. Bantus is a large group that originated from North Africa and the Congo forest. They share similarities in their language and names, have similarity in customs, traditions, and practices similar lifestyle, farming, and livestock keeping. Some of the House of Mulogooli surnames are common Bantu names, including those based on seasons, environments, and professions. We will give you these names in our website, jambotellskenya.co.ke. The other source of names to the House of Mulogooli are adopted surnames through intermarriage. Names from other communities are added into the House of Mulogooli cultural name pot strictly through intermarriage. In fact, all names which are added into the Mulogooli original names are through intermarriage. The naming hierarchy of Mulogooli is such that matrilineal names have a special place of being added into the clan chain. Due to the marriage bloodline, that is bloodline mixing, these names are adopted as Mulogooli names. That is how some cultural names from neighboring communities form part and parcel of House Mulogooli individual surnames. These include names and surnames adopted from neighbors. The House of Mulogooli has the following close neighbors: Nyore, Kisa, Idako, Isuka, Twa, Tiriki, and Luo and Nandi. These communities intermarry with the House of Mulogooli often. Children which with Mulogooli's unique child naming custom leads to assimilation of names from the neighbors community into the House of Mulogooli. The other way of intermarriage is names adopted from Mulembe Nation. The House of Mulogooli is closely related to a language and cultural group called Luya or Mulembe Nation. That is Bukusu, Nyala, Nyala Wandombi, Idako, Nyole, Isuka, Kisa, Tiriki, Samia, Kabarasi, Tachoni, Kayo, Soso, Marachi, Wanga, Gisu, and Marama. The other adopted names or surnames are from a wider Kenya community. House of Mulogooli members are very liberal in choosing marriage partners. The sons and daughters of Mulogooli have married into many communities in Kenya and Africa, all the way into the diaspora. As for Mulogooli baby naming procedure, names from the marriage partners eventually become Mulogooli names. The other names adopted from surnames of Swahili. Many Mulogooli words are similar to Kiswahili, a widely spoken language in East and Central Africa, which is also the national language of some of these nations. Hence, Mulogooli and Kiswahili have similarities in grammar and pronunciations. Names similar to Swahili are in the House of Mulogooli. Like I have said earlier, we have put these names into our website, jambotales.co.ke. You'll find them there. Recognition. As part of cultural names from communities, the wholesome name of that community is always recognized as the origin of the spouse. Thus, the lineage of uncles. The woman will often be addressed as the lady of this community. Her children are identified as our clan, and this is our community unclehood. She does not lose her origin identity through marriage. On the contrary, it is celebrated and elevated. We look at other sources of family surnames based on place and time of birth. They indicate whether the expectant mother gave birth, the time of the day, and environmental weather. This method of naming is common in the House of Mulogooli, as way names are added into the family name pot. Then we have new names or surnames based on major events. A child who is born during a major event or calamity may be named after it. This may also happen if one or both parents participated or were affected by that event. Such a name is often adopted by that family and may appear in future family name pot. Then we have new names and surnames based on religion. The baptismal names, Islamic or Christian, which are not used as surnames, and I repeat, they are not used as surnames, but only used as first names, because there was no intermarriage, that is bloodline mixing, between the Habingas of the religions and the House of Mulogooli, through which the names would have been adopted into the society. Therefore, a Mulogooli will have two names: the family surname as the first cultural surname, and the baptismal name as an informal first name. The family name carries more weight as it identifies a person's heritage and the Mulogooli's customary naming method. When a baby is born, the father is informed and told whether the baby is a boy or a girl. The baby's father contacts his father, that is the grandfather of the child, to give the baby the name. The grandfather sends the baby's auntie to carry out the naming ceremony. Traditionally, the following category applies. The firstborn is named after the grandfather on the father's side. That is the firstborn son. The second-born son is named after the grandparents on the mother's side. The second-born, let me correct that. The first-born daughter is named after the grandparents on the father's side. The second-born daughter is named after the grandparents on the mother's side. Subsequent births are named after grandparents on the father's side. Twins are named as follows. Twins are named as follows. The first is Mulongo, the second is Mukwana. The child born after the twins is named Kisia. So we have that kind of naming. Now, child calling or rejecting a name. There are instances when the baby's name is selected even before the baby is born. The grandfather or grandmother may receive a vision from a departed member of the family in a dream as a sign that he or she wishes to be named. A child who has not been named properly cries a lot, falls sick often, making parents spend sleepless nights until the correct name is given. The naming ceremony. The naming ceremony is the most important aspect of the identity of a person as a member of the House of Mulogooli. It serves two purposes. Is a cultural genetic test for the baby. It tests whether the proper family name has been selected for the baby. The naming ceremony is conducted by the auntie of the baby. She is considered to be the preserver of the family and the clan bloodline. The naming ceremony is performed at the baby's father's homestead. If the parents live very far, the auntie is required to travel there and perform the ceremony. This also applies to children born out of wedlock and cannot be brought to the father's home. At the naming place, the auntie will ask the mother of the child if she is willing to permit the paternal tests to be conducted on the baby. If yes, the auntie will lick the baby a special porridge she will have made or come with. Then she will give the baby the family name, shave and bathe the baby. If the baby was not conceived by the clan, it will not survive. It is taboo, that is not permissible for a man to undertake the first shave of the newborn baby. Please listen keenly to this video, as information I'm providing here is rooted deeply in culture and traditions. Culture and language is a person's identity. It cannot change. In this video, we have looked at the names which are used as surnames in the House of Mulogooli. In the next video, we will look at names which are not used as surnames in the House of Mulogooli, although they appear in the name pot of Mulogooli. This is for the benefit of what we call modern member of the House of Mulogooli. It may be a person who was born outside the Mulogooli area, or lives away from Mulogooli area for a long time, and may not be specifically aware about the traditions of Mulogooli. A Mulogooli living, for instance, a Mulogooli living in a diaspora for a long time may not have been sufficiently exposed to the lost touch with the House of Mulogooli traditions. Also, a person married to a Mulogooli may mistakenly find such a name to be romantic and name a child only to discover that it is inappropriate. Welcome.